So, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. I'd like to invite first up to the stage to help set the scene. First of all, Alessandro Malavotti, Vice President of CIMA, and Serhej Tereshko. If Serhej, there we go. If you come and join me, and if the technology is working well. Apparently the technology is not working so well, so there's a 5-minute delay on that, which means that my very agile panelists will be able to lead us off. So to both of you, Serhej, maybe for you first, just to help us set the scene, why is the conversation that we're about to have here today? Taras Vysotsky, Acting Minister of Agriculture from Ukraine, will join us shortly. But in your perspective, why is today's conversation so important, and what do you hope to get out of it?
Good afternoon. Thank you for organizers for highlighting Ukraine's agricultural issue here in Brussels. Why it is important? First of all, it is important that unfortunately we are witnessing that a lot of unreasonable speculations and manipulations are arising in political and not only expert but political discourse around Ukrainian agriculture. We don't want this, we don't like this. That is why expert and targeted audience discussion is very much important to bring the discussion about future of Ukrainian agriculture within the EU, future of Ukraine, EU trade in agricultural commodities. We are open for more discussion. We appreciate the platforms which are being set like this to explain what Ukrainian agriculture is, what it can do, what it can't do, what it means for the future of the European Union. And also to hear from the European perspective, what are the needs of the European agriculture, how we can jointly deliver more to build better and stronger common agricultural policy, and to start building future together, but not operate with speculations, political reasonings, and kind of bans and protests and blockades and so on.
Can I just ask you, before I turn to Alessandro Serhej, you're obviously the deputy head of the mission here in Brussels to the EU. As I said, just over 900 days since the invasion. When you reflect over that period between now and back in February 2022, what has pleased you the most in terms of the understanding of Ukraine generally and agriculture in Ukraine in particular, and what still concerns you?
Well, first of all, for all of us Ukrainians, we are very much impressed and appreciate a part, of course, of Ukraine armed forces, the resilience and the strength of Ukrainian business, Ukrainian people of economy, and in particular people from the agricultural sector. So they impressed us, and I believe impressed entire Europe, that they are not only capable to survive within the war, but they are capable to ensure country's resilience, Ukraine, but also develop well-balanced and good cooperation with the European Union and keep feeding the world. Despite the war, Ukraine still feeds 400 million people across the world, and we are ready to increase this figure jointly with the European Union. So, but also we believe this period also demonstrated that there is inevitable, and I believe there is an understanding, more and more understanding within the EU institutions, among EU member states, probably not yet well understanding on the all level of the key stakeholders of the agrarian business, but that Ukrainian agriculture is important partner for the European Union's agriculture, and jointly we can build up mutually beneficial common agriculture, rather than treat ourselves each other as competitors or threats to each other. So I believe the basis for this understanding that Ukraine is contributor for the Europeans and global food security is well established here in Brussels already.
Final question before I turn to Alessandro Serhej, and I'll probably have the same question to Taras Vysotsky as well. That point you made that Ukraine agriculture continues to function, it demonstrated a remarkable resilience in many ways, given the pressure that it's been under. Do you think that resilience and fortitude and continuing performance of the sector is well understood outside of Ukraine and well enough understood, not just in these circles, but across Europe and indeed the world?
Well, unfortunately, I believe not yet 100% well understood, because from one hand, we hear a lot that Ukraine will receive and has to receive significant amounts of the financial assistance, in particular from the European Union. You mentioned Ukraine facility, but from other hand, sometimes it seems that key stakeholders in the European Union just treat Ukrainian agriculture, some sectors of Ukrainian economy, as competitors, and contrary to allowing Ukraine to get own revenues, to strengthen itself, to get stronger by own means, to develop its economy, they shift they prevent for Ukraine to get stronger itself. So we plead to the European Union, don't only talk about how to support Ukraine from externally. We first of all say to our European partners, please let us work properly, let us trade properly with the world, with Europe. Let's not talk with limits, blockades, limitations, measures, but let's talk how we can make more benefits for Ukraine, which would be comfortable for the European Union as well.
Perfect. Serhiy, thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, as you've seen, we've just been joined by the acting minister for agriculture in Ukraine. I'm going to hand you the floor in a moment, Taras Vysotsky. If you wouldn't mind, Alessandro, that means I'll just come back to you afterwards, because the note that I've just been handed is that after a technology delay at our end, I know the minister only has 10 minutes or so to share with us his perspective. So, Taras Vysotsky, a great pleasure indeed to have you with us today. Serhiy Tereshko, as you know, deputy head of your mission here in Brussels to the European Union, has just been setting the scene a little bit with his perspective on why this kind of a meeting is important, what he hopes to get out of it. We'd love to hear from you, Minister, if we may, your perspective on where agriculture is in Ukraine today, what your hopes and indeed concerns are for the future, and what you think we need to do more of in terms of the cooperation, collaboration, not just with the European Union, but with other global partners to help Ukrainian agriculture achieve its potential. So without further ado, Minister, I'll hand you the floor for the moments that you have with us. Thank you very much indeed.
Good afternoon, dear colleague. I apologize for some delay due to the governmental meetings, but I'm glad that still has some short possibility to participate in this discussion, because indeed it's very critical for Ukraine. All of us unfortunately know that so far up to 20% of agricultural land isn't available in Ukraine for cultivation due to the temporary occupation. Also out of them, like 2-3% due to mines. Also, the agricultural sector has received the direct losses of more than $10 billion in infrastructure, starting from agricultural machinery, but finishing with animal farms, elevator seals, and others. So that's for us to understand that still a lot has to be done to recover, to rebuild. And why it is important not only for Ukraine, of course it's important for our internal GDP, for our agricultural sector, but we are sure that it's also important for international community, because Ukraine is one of the biggest exporters of different kinds of agricultural commodities in the world. We have already seen that blocking the agricultural export from Ukraine in 2022 has increased the international prices about 35%, and only when the products return to the markets, the situation has become more easier. And all of the potential, Ukrainian potential, which isn't realized and isn't produced, it means it's not exported to the countries and people who really need this food. Because we are able to cover the internal needs, but it's first of all about also covering the needs of international communities and fighting the hunger. So for us now it's important really to create different kinds of mechanisms to support. We do, as a government, have some programs of state support when we talk about different kinds of agricultural producers. But so far, our possibilities are limited because, first of all the resources are focused on fighting the Russia. That's why there is very good instrument available within Ukrainian facility. But this money is around 8 billion euro. They won't automatically be transferred in some results if we all together and participants of this event are not active in really creating these projects, are not active in applying for this money, for these long-term loans, and not active in creating these possibilities in Ukraine. That can be once again starting from leasing programs for agricultural machinery, because we do need to recover it, but also finishing different kinds of projects of processing and production in Ukraine, which are more long-term. That's why we would like to ask the participants really to pay attention and initiate as many projects as possible in cooperation with Ukrainian agricultural producers. They are very active. They are united in good associations. They have established quite good contacts within the last decade with different organizations like CAMA, like EOL, like participating in Forum for the Future of Agriculture together with other stakeholders. So, and now we have to use these opportunities and our joint efforts really to speed up the rebuilding and recovery of Ukraine, even during the time of war. Because there have been some thoughts that we have to wait the victory, but now we do understand that we can't wait. We really have to move simultaneously. Recovery and rebuilding was possible now, and also doing the same in the future on the future deoccupied territories. With demining and other. That's why it's important that we try to share your thoughts today, and hope it will be also the results that some ideas and projects will start in this direction in realization in the coming future. And of course, we as a ministry are always ready to be a stable and sustainable partner in all of these initiatives.
Minister, thank you very much indeed for those opening remarks. A couple of questions as follow-up, if I may. When you look at the future, are you able to identify what Ukrainian agriculture needs now, or now in the next 2 years? What would you prioritize? And then when you look a little bit further out, perhaps with a 5-year horizon, I mean, let's hope the conflict is resolved as quickly as possible, but with a 5 to 10-year horizon, where would the priorities for investment be then? So short and medium to longer term, if you're able to do that.
I would focus in the short term. Ukrainian agriculture, as all of the economy, needs energy security, because we see the current situation when each of the agricultural producer enterprise should be more or less independent in terms of energy supply. That's why in the next 2 years, all of the projects of different kinds of alternative energy generation, starting from solar panels on elevators, animal farms, others, and finishing with biomethane production, biogas production. We have lots of raw materials, starting from straw and others, that we can really increase significantly the biogas production, which can use in the short term for energy creation. And after, in the medium and long term, it can be used for cleaning to biomethane, and then also exported to European Union, for example, not only for Ukraine. So making some contribution to not only Ukraine, but European Union energy security. That's one basic direction. Of course, during all of this period, 2, 5, and 7 years, we will have to put attention in different kinds of demining, because it's a big problem, and we will, it's really lots of territories. and recultivating of lands, but it's not more about business, it's more about also social responsibility, I would say, and retaining this. When returning to more business is again investing in the directions of processing of different kinds of products. Because we do see, when we now talk about 5, 7, 10 years, that there is a stable growing international demand for different kinds of deep grain processing, amino acids, lithium, and other products. Of course, it's the investments for 2, 3, 5, 7 years. Is the investments of 50, 100, 150 million dollars. So it's about security, insurance, and others. But we do see that Ukraine has the raw materials for it. So the stable base of raw materials, and we have been able to recover logistics due to these challenges, but recover, including the sea logistics, and it would be good to be such a production hub in this respect. So looking in this direction and paying attention to these kinds of production would be beneficial for all of the participants, not only the Ukraine as a country, but also the businesses will be the first and ready to invest.
Thank you, Minister. I've got one final follow-up question to you before we let you go, if that's okay. I just want to look around the audience. Is there a burning question for the Minister from our distinguished audience guests here today? Don't feel obligated. I won't pick on anybody, I promise you. But if there is a burning question, okay, they've had their chance, Minister. So I'm going to conclude with my final question, if I may. We've obviously had a lot of international geopolitical interest in Ukraine, not just obviously over the last few days, but particularly concentrated over the last few days with the Berlin Recovery Conference, the Peace Summit in Switzerland. In your own words, Minister, how encouraged are you by the progress that you've seen across those two international gatherings? And if I may push you, what still leaves you concerned about, if there is any, of the commitments from the international community? So what progress, what reassures you with the progress, and what concerns do you still have?
So first of all, it's positive that we have the stable international support from different countries, not only the European Union and the United States, but really, when we look at the Peace Summit, it's about 80 countries who signed the communique. So it's very good that we have this constant, sustainable international support despite the challenges and despite the third year of the war, including the financial projects and economic projects which were announced and signed during the Berlin Recovery Conference, and already announced the next conference in Italy, Rome next year, which means that it's not the end. The support and the focus will be still there. So of course it's very important. What's necessary? What's necessary also to speed up the process of creation of war insurance instruments in Ukraine. Partners are ready, but it is still not there in practical application, because we do understand that it is the key to starting investing, because anyway the risk should be covered, and that's not the concern, but that's what's very needed but still not realized. And we keep working and asking our partners for support to move on. We have such insurance for the ships, it's working, but not for the internally realized projects. So that's one important thing. And of course, keep having not only 1 year, but medium and long-term common projects to provide this macroeconomic stability, which is also important for investors to understand that Ukraine will be economically stable not only 2024, 2025, but 2027, 2030, and so on. Lots have been done, but still here we have to fix, and the preliminary announced decision about 50 billion from G7 is one of the instruments that also the agricultural producers do understand that step by step, but the losses will be recovered, be compensated also by cost of Russia.
Minister, thank you very much indeed for giving us that brief but very succinct and very insightful overview of where agriculture is and what is concerning you, where you see the opportunities are, and the reassurance that I know you're trying to share. I know that you've got a very busy agenda today. We hugely appreciate you taking the time to join us, and I don't know if you can hear, but I would just ask our friends to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Minister, our thoughts, our prayers, but hopefully our intellect and our capacity is here to support you. We wish you every success with what's in front of you, and we stand with you. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we've had the perspective of Taras and Serhii. Alessandro, I'm going to turn to you now. I mean, when you look at just some of the photography, the visuals coming back from Ukraine, and you see what the $10 billion worth of damage actually looks like, there is a big recovery job there. I think I read somewhere that said that Ukraine only has about 50% of what it actually needs in terms of machinery and equipment and so forth to support its build back and its recovery. Your association, which of course is why we're here and doing this, has got a critical role to play. Would love your perspective on some of the challenges and opportunities as you see them as we set the scene today.
We, as an association, prepared last year a position paper. Gilles Drancourt is one of the persons that have written personally that, and it is a clear statement that Ukraine is strategic for the worldwide. Mr. Terensko before said that 400 million persons just trust in the Ukraine agriculture to survive. Middle East, Africa, all around the world. The situation of machine in Ukraine is very bad. It was good, but not so good before the war. I travel in Ukraine since almost 20 years. I have a company over there, and I weekly make a phone call with my guys and just check which is the situation. And they told me that there is a huge problem regarding the western part. They cannot put grains or oilseeds or whatever. They cannot put seeds due to the fact that there is invasion over there. Another part, there are mines. The minister said that there is a huge problem still on that. The first part of the war, a lot of tractor was stolen by Russian army for, let's say, logistic use. They used to tractors to make this one. Another part of tractor or combines were destroyed by bombs. So I think now the situation in Ukraine is that they need a lot of machine. They need a lot of technology. Ukraine is very good, has a very big land, a very dark land, so it's very fertile. And I think that our association, that represent the biggest manufacturer and one of the biggest industry in the world producing cotton machinery, can help a lot. We are supporting Ukrainian economy, agricultural economy. A lot of companies, mine, as still operating company over there. We are supporting our dealer, just giving assistance, just giving machine, giving credit, and indirectly also farmers with all the support. I hope that, as the minister say, one part of this 10 billion will go to the leasing program for buying the agricultural machine, because I think this is the main thing that they can help resolving the problem. And then they have to solve the problem, the logistic problem of how to move oilseeds and cereals outside, but this is another problem. But I think that we can help a lot as a manufacturer to supply the right machine in this market. And now Ukraine is, as you said, a part of Europe. So
I'd like to just touch on with both of you, actually, something you said about the machinery and the technology being put back into Ukraine. Say the challenge of the labor supply. use of machinery technology requires skilled labor. How much of a challenge is that for both of you when you look at this, is making sure that there is a skilled labor supply in agriculture that is going to be able to come online, to use the machinery, the technologies, and help you to get back on the trajectory that you were on prior to the conflict? Maybe to start with you, Serhii.
Well, it's a painful question because indeed, apart from the needs of the machinery or liquidity or insurance, I believe if we ask every business in Ukraine what is his main challenge as of now, the general context of war, it's labor force. The business is unfortunately they're losing its labor force for noble reason. From one hand, yes, that Ukraine is in need to protect itself, and in fact, many men and people, men and women went to the front line, and that is why, of course, there is a huge challenge, and that is why, on the basis of every discussion about how to rebuild Ukraine, how to support Ukraine, first of all, we have to think about finishing the war, and everyone has its role in here, including particular role of business, and also of course, while rebuilding Ukraine and while reconstructing Ukraine, we have to create conditions when the people, millions of Ukrainians who fled Ukraine to other countries, getting back. We need to create conditions for people to come back, including economical conditions, social conditions. People lost their places to live. The social infrastructure was destroyed. So children of those Ukrainian have to go to school. So that is why everything have to be rebuilt in some region from the scratch in order to allow Ukrainians, those millions, to come back, to restore the country, and in particular its agriculture. That is why, yes, this is a challenge, but despite of this, still Ukrainian agriculture remains capable, and despite of all the challenges of war, all the deficits of all the basic needs, including labor force, Ukrainian agriculture was growing last year remarkably. It's again, I would underline its significant resilience, which showed that the resilience of Ukrainian agriculture and its potential is one of the. In fact, it's war insurance. So Ukrainian agriculture is such a resilient and potentially profitable that, of course, indeed, the war insurances are needed, but investing in Ukraine is very perspective, very potential for EU business and European global business direction.
We have a huge problem, means that, as you said, a lot of farmers go to the young farmer and say that this is necessary because, first of all, you have to defend your borderline, your land and everything. For us, it's a huge problem. Means that all our dealership starting to make again a lot of teaching, because we are not talking about small machine, we are talking about quite big machine, powerful tractor, powerful combine, powerful seeders or fertilizer or whatever. So there are a lot of technology involved on that. So all our company are putting a lot of effort to restart the schooling to the dealer for the new guys that are working in the dealership. Fortunately, the Ukrainian is a quite young population. We have the opposite problem in Europe. We have a very old population for farmer. And so now we are starting again to reteach. Just to give you, we don't have exact numbers about agricultural machines in Ukraine, the sales, but talking about few of our associated company, we return about 60-70%, 60-75% probably, the market that was before the war. So now they are starting again, little by little, to buy again big machine and to start to invest in agriculture. Thanks to the leasing system, the leasing program of the minister, thanks to many things, to some help, some international help, and this is, I think, a good sign for the future.
Well, to both of you, thank you very much indeed for sharing with us your perspective, starting as you did there, Serhii, reminding us of very human challenges that, of course, you and your country face, but but also both of you pointing out with a degree of optimism, I think, on the not just the potential of Ukrainian agriculture, which I think we all knew, but as you said, Sergei, the resilience. It shows that it's already performing. It's a good investment, and I know that we're going to hear from others as we go through the afternoon as to why that is indeed the case. But to both of you for helping us to set the scene together with Minister Vysotsky, thank you very much indeed. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.